definitely.
Where were the families involved in the book at all? Did you speak to
The
them?
victims, yes, the victim's family, Taylor Sampson, is very involved. In fact, so many people wanted to participate in this book that they're not all quoted directly, and I make a note of that in the back of the book. It was very helpful, of course, but I just couldn't include direct quotations from everyone. His mother, Linda Boutlier, played a tremendous role in this book. I mean, people ask me if I could have done it without her. Sure, I could have. I wouldn't have, and I think it would have been a very different book. She was instrumental in helping me give him an identity. Because I think in the early days when this story started to emerge in Halifax, there was this sense of, just another drug dealer. And he was so much more than that and had so much promise and was so young and had a bright future and so many people who loved him. And so, his younger brother Connor is in the book, his father and stepmother, his friends from university, friends that he grew up with in Amherst, which is a couple of hour drive outside of Halifax. William Sanderson, the man who has been convicted of this murder, his family chose not to participate. I did have a very brief conversation with his mother. She was very polite, but told me that in their view, this story is not over yet. And she's referencing the fact that her son is appealing his conviction. So,
right.
We'll have to wait and see if anything changes there. But, you're so right to zero in on the fact that this is such an emotional story. And I've never lost sight of that throughout this process. I mean, I don't think there's anything more humbling for a journalist than to be given this level of trust to write about a son's murder from a mother's perspective. And so it was also a huge responsibility. And I can't tell you how much I wrote and deleted and wrote and deleted and, wanting it to be fair and accurate and balanced and all of those things we strive for in journalism, but also really make sure that I gave her a voice to be able to tell her story. So I've said this a number of times now, but the things that people have told me about this book so far, it's been out a couple of months now, people, it's true crime, of course it is, that's a fact. People call it, a page turner and a murder mystery and a thriller, and these are some of the headings that it ends up under in bookstores. And it is all of those things, but it's just so important that we not forget that this is real life, that this really happened. And for the people in this book, this is their reality, and surely none of them would have ever chosen that.
And obviously this would have affected you as well. I mean, I know journalists aren't supposed to be part of the story, but when you're that in depth with a story, it has to become a part of you and affect you in some way. I imagine.
I think because of the relationship I've been able to develop with Taylor's mother, I think that's what's impacted me the most, because I've interviewed her so many times now and, really gotten to know her from even just casual conversations since I started writing this book. I mean, I really can't give her enough credit for how much trust she gave me and how helpful she was in helping me complete the project and supporting it. And even though there are things in here that, no mother would like to read about their son, he was a drug dealer. And I told her from the very beginning I would have to write that. And she said, that's okay. I know that if you write it, it will be fair. And so because we've been able to develop that relationship, it bothers me. I think about her and the fact that she's never been able to get the closure that she wants, that she needs. All that she wants at this point is to know what happened to her son. Where is his body? They've never been able to do that sort of, memorial service. They did a memorial service, but not the kind that can provide the closure she's seeking. So it's tough.
Yeah, it's perfectly understandable that she would want that. I mean, it's just unimaginable not to have this happen in the first place is unimaginable, and then to never have that final resolution to know. I can't even imagine that. I do look forward to getting the book and having a read. I'm excited to get it. Now you've been moving around with this book. You've toured around. You've done some signings. Do you have any more signings in the province?
Just today is the last one. So I started in St. John's and then I did Gander, which, as I say, is where I grew up. And this afternoon, I'm in new-wes-valley, which is where a lot of my family is. My dad grew up here. So I do need to say, though, that the signings, I've been all over Nova Scotia, which is where, of course, this story hit close to home for most people. I've had some stops in New Brunswick, and I've loved meeting people and talking about my work all over Atlantic Canada. But there's nothing like signing books in Newfoundland, and all of the Newfoundland signings have been the most popular yet. I was in Gander yesterday, and I was just blown away by the level of support there. And I shouldn't be surprised, but it's just so overwhelming to see the support here in Newfoundland.
And you had your signing at the Jumping Bean? Was that where?
In Gander, yes.
Yeah.
It was such a wonderful, and it was so wonderful to partner with them. They're so good to me and so supportive, and that's such a lovely, lovely environment to do something like this in. It's such a quaint, cozy, beautiful coffee shop, and there was a steady flow of people in there all afternoon. It was wonderful.
It's great, and I had to give them a plug because it's one of my favorite spots too. I have kids
yes,
involved.
I'm so glad that you did. I should have mentioned that the first time.
So Jumping Bean Gander, they're great, and they didn't pay me to say this. They are. I have kids involved in the Beyond the Overpass theater in there, and so I have to drop them off and wait for an hour and a half or something, and then I go to the Jumping Bean and I work there and drink their delicious coffees, and I know the owners fairly well, know Sonia quite well, and so yeah, I'm always giving them a plug everywhere I go because it's my little spot in Gander. I would never go to
Gander again without going to the Jumping Bean.
No, it's wonderful. It's got just such a nice. I don't know. It just feels nice, and it's busy, and they're always friendly, and good coffee, and I mean, what more do you want? It's just a little.
I had the Mummers Blend yesterday, which I was really excited about as well.
I haven't tried that. I usually, when I go in, I usually get those specialty, lattes and stuff because I can't get that here.
Fancy coffee.
Yeah, the fancy coffee. But I was in there and I'm like, you could, my daughter was with me and I'm like, you could get me a mug from here. I love their big orange mugs. And for Christmas, that would be a nice gift for me. So, yeah. So Jumping Bean, you got to go. And where can we find your books now? I know they're online. I looked because, being in a small place, online is sometimes my only option. But where can we buy your book?
Right. So that will be the best option for a lot of Newfoundlanders. So it is available at every Chapters Cold and Indigo in Canada, as well as some independent booksellers. But it is available on Amazon and, of course, indigo.ca as well.
Okay, good. Is there anywhere in Gander to buy it?
No, unfortunately. What can we do about that?
I don't know. There is a bookstore in Gander, the Bookworm.
There is, but I haven't talked to them directly, but they've told, I'm told they have had a number of people going there asking for my book, and they've told them that they only get new books in which the story itself is about Newfoundland.
Ah, okay. I didn't know that. I mean, I buy books there, but I didn't look any further.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah. But anyway, online is always a good option. And as you said, Chapters and the big bookstores, which people who read will make their way to those for sure. And because we have to have our books. And and it's paperback, right? Is it an ebook yet?
Yeah. Not yet, but it will be very, very soon. I can give you an update on that when it would. It might even be, and I might not be aware of it, but I think it's very close. Okay. There's also going to be an audiobook being released very soon.
Wonderful. Okay,
which,
so all
which
the platforms
I recorded myself.
Soon. Oh, really? That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great experience.
Yeah, I've done one. I've recorded one as well, and it is an interesting experience to read your book out loud is odd. Mine was not actually. It was nonfiction. It was fictionalized historical event, but it was sort of a short story, and I got really emotional during the reading of it because there's a sad place, and I actually got emotional. I'm like, I think this might be a good thing though that it affected me.
Well, it's very real.
Yeah. So that's a good thing. I am very, very looking forward to your book. I'll probably just order it. I love getting packages in the mail, so I'll probably just get it on Amazon.
Oh, who doesn't?
And right, it's like you're getting presents you're not expecting, even if you buy them for yourself. And
it's true. To me, love me.
So, anyway, thank you so much for your time. Is there anything we can find you on? Facebook.
I'm everywhere.
Yeah, and it's Kayla
You can,
Hounsell.
and that's right, but my author pages are at Kayla Author, so that's where you'll see all the news and updates about my book, First Degree. I'm very active on there, so you'll see all my signings and any news about various versions being released, etc.
Wonderful. So, and we'll make sure to direct everybody to the appropriate places on our social media so that they can find you. All right. Well, thank you so much. Best of luck
Thank you so much for your interest and taking the time.
Oh, I'm just really looking forward to the book. It's just like I said, hadn't heard the story, and now I'm really, really fascinated by it. And I know just from glancing through the blurb and things like that, just there's a lot more than what you've given us, and twists and turns and unusual things happen during the trial that I think people would be very interested in reading. So I am really looking forward to it. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
You have a great day. Best of luck this afternoon with your book signing.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Bridges radio program. Find us again next Friday at 8 p.m. Bridges is produced at Citadel House Studios in Lewisport, Newfoundland and Labrador, and is a collaborative project between Carolyn R. Parsons and Citadel House.